Hi, it's Warren here from MotoExpose 360, and here are my top 10 tips and hints with using the Samsung Gear 360 camera. The first thing you should do when you get the Samsung Gear 360 camera out of the box is to change the video resolution. For some reason the video is defaulted to 2K out of the box. I think it may have something to do with the S6 and the Note 5 can only stitch in the 2K resolution rather than 4K resolutions. So maybe Samsung is trying to default it to 2K to hide that potential slight issue for some users. The first thing I will do is change the 2K resolution to 4K to get the most out of the Samsung 360 camera. Regarding having a logo at the bottom of your 360 videos and photos, I would recommend not to have these settings on, as this can be easily added in at a later point in time when you want to. To Samsung credit, the logo is actually only added at the point when you stitch the photo together. So if you keep the original file from the camera, unstitched version of the image or video, you actually get a clean video without the logo. So that's a good thing. So you can always stitch it later on with or without the logo at any point in time. And if you want to add in your own customized logo, check out my tutorial video to do that here. Know the orientation of your camera. The front camera, as defined by the Samsung manual, is this one, the one where the LCD is facing. So I don't know if you can see it quite well, but you can see where the LCD is. That is officially the front camera, and the other side is officially the back camera. But for some strange reason, when you actually record, the center of your 360 video or photo is on your back camera. So if you want your video to be facing forward, you need to be facing your back camera to the direction in which you want the center of your point of view is for the default when you open up the video. So in this case, you'll see that the front camera where the LCD is pointing to me, the back camera is pointing outwards. So when you open up the 360 video, that is the direction that you'll see. It's very odd that they call this the front camera and the back camera is actually the focus or the center point of the 360 video. It doesn't really matter as long as you know which one's the front and back and you know which direction you really want to face it to. It's not really that much of a big deal if you face it the wrong way or any direction. You can actually post edit it, but facing it the right way will save you some work later on. Make sure you're level or at the right level that you want to be shooting. So in general, you want it to be balanced because your rotation around the horizontal is this way. If it's tilted any way, your rotation is going to be crooked. And also obviously if your focus of the object is at eye level, if you point it down here, they have to look up or down depending on how wide the field of view is and how far and close the camera is to your target object. So if you're actually shooting at the right level, that's quite important because they are very hard to edit in post. The other thing with the Samsung Gear 360 camera is that it's got the two lens, so there's a stitching, and we all know about the issues with matching of the stitch lines and how messy it could be. So what you should do is plan your shoot based on where the stitch lines are. The Samsung Gear 360 Manager does a good job of showing you the view so you can see where exactly the stitch lines are. So what you should do is really do a test, rotate the camera around a little bit here and there if you found your spot of where you want to shoot, and get it to a point where the stitch line is, I suppose, the best aligned. So in general, things that are further away are stitched better than things that are close together. If you're trying to shoot two objects that are close together on either side, potentially, so here we've got the 360 Fly case and the Gear 360 case, you would want the stitch line to be facing this way because these two objects are the closest. You're going to get the mismatch in stitching on the objects that are closer together, but whereas if you get a stitch line this way, since you're further away than I am, in general the stitching is a lot better. I might actually do a photo of this. I might post it up so you can actually see the result of this. So let's quickly do that. So let me turn the photo settings on. Right, let me do one photo which is facing this way. So hopefully it'll work out, but let's see. So this is the back camera is facing you, front camera facing me, so the default point of view should be that way, so let's see that. So that's taken. And now we'll turn it this way. And let's see what we'll get. So in this case, unfortunately the point of view is this way, but you can always rotate it around. So let's take it around. we took that. I will put this in the video and let's see what it turns out. As long as you've got a stitching area right, you can always rotate the footage around in the starting point of view later on. So it's more important to get the best quality image or the best quality video out of the camera than it just less work in post. It's actually not that hard to change the starting point of view of your videos or photos if you want to in post. Repositioning the starting point of view of a video or photo is not that hard as long as you've got editing software to do it. You can use Photoshop obviously for photos, or if you're editing videos you can use Premiere Pro, you can use Final Cut Pro, and I suppose any video editing software you should be able to do this. Once you've got your stitch file, you've got your equirectangular image or video footage. The center of the equirectangular footage is the starting point of view. So from a video point of view, you just need to offset the video horizontally, left or right, and make sure that the end meets again as you rotate through. So it's almost like rotating in the sphere. And basically that would change the starting point of view once you actually get your starting image right bang in the middle. And the same as the photo, so you can do the same with a photo and just shift it left and right. If you want more details on how to do this, I've got a video on this, so you can check it out here. So if you have a slow PC or if you only have a Mac, use your phone to do the work for you. So you can use your S7, S6 or any of the Samsung phones that are compatible with the Samsung Gear 360 to do the stitching. So here it is. So obviously you need a compatible phone in order for you to run Samsung Gear 360 Manager. And within the app itself, you click on save. It will save that onto your phone and there will be already a stitch file that you can copy out and use on your computer after that. In fact, this is the option that I use the most. I've got a few Macs, MacBook Airs, and I don't really run PCs. I've got an i5 PC that I use that I've got Action Director on it for stitching, but I find that the phone stitches a lot faster than I can on Action Director. So this is my preferred method of getting the files off the camera into stitch format. And if you need help with this, you can check out this video that I've made earlier regarding this topic. And for those of you who doesn't have a Samsung phone that can run the Samsung Gear 360 Manager app, try the custom ROM created by Binary. It allows other Android devices with Android 5 and higher to install the app itself. It doesn't guarantee that it will work on your Android phone. It does actually require quite a high-end phone because the app itself actually does require a lot of memory and processing in order to do the stitching and the processing and I suppose stitching on the fly for the videos preview and for the video and the photos previews. So it does require quite a high-end Android phone, but it does open the options to a lot more people. So I know that it works on the Sony Xperia 5, Z5. It works on the HTC 10, and it works on the Lexus 6P, I believe. So they definitely try it out. If it doesn't work, then it didn't work before anyway, but if it does work, then at least you could run Samsung Gear Manager. And if you need help to find a custom ROM or learn how to install it on your Android, you can check out my tutorial regarding that here. The files exported from the Samsung Gear 360 Manager appear to be less compressed than the files that are stitched together via Action Director. So you actually get a slightly better quality video from what I can see anyway. Not in all cases, sometimes the compression may just be a bit better in Action Director, but especially with the time-lapse video, from what I've seen, there's a big quality difference between the Action Director and the Samsung Gear 360 Manager via the mobile app. So that's another reason I probably prefer to use the app itself. This may not always be the case, so sometimes I would actually check both to see which one's a better quality stitch footage that I'll end up using. If you're not happy with the quality of the videos or the photos that you've got from Action Director, try it out on the phone and see whether you get a quality difference, and vice versa. Maybe you'll see something that may make you a little bit happier with the footage. Number 10. Selfie sticks, monopods, and weightlifting weights are your best friend. They're my best friend, so I'll show you what I mean by that. So this is just the standard monopods that I use for it, because it's got a really small base and it's actually quite solid. And you can get a selfie stick, or you've got a monopod that you can screw it on. That's fantastic as well. So what this is basically the mount or the tripod that I use for my 360 cameras, because it really have a low profile. It's got a small base, and it doesn't have all the, I suppose, all the ball head and things that sticks out, which the Gear 360 do pick up when it's capturing a video or photo. So you can easily screw that in. But one thing that I do notice is that if you make this too high, you're going to not see it now, it does get a bit unstable when you got this right on top. So what I do, this is where the weights comes in. You can get this from anywhere. This is actually quite cheap. Standard weightlifting weights, it fits in quite well. Put it down. You can put 1, you can put 2, you can put 3. It's no bigger than the base of the tripod, and now it becomes rock steady. So I'm happy to go out on location, put it right up, and mount this right on the top, and it's actually still quite steady. The only problem is obviously a selfie stick isn't as solid and stable as a nicer monopod. So if you can afford a nicer monopod that is a bit more rigid and can screw on nicer, that's always handy. Otherwise, this is my go-to kit when I take it out on locations, when I go on shoot, and it's perfect because it doesn't pick up anything from down here. It actually misses most of the stems here depending how far you are because of how the stitching works, and I'm hiding behind it at the moment, and it's only just a small base, and it packs away nice and easy. And you pack in your bag. So these are basically what I take out with you, well, what I take out with me on a shoot, and it's actually not that bad to carry around. So I find out with 360 camera, I find myself hiding in public places a lot, and a lot of people was wondering what I'm doing. So often I put a camera, put it on a tripod, and I'll go run behind something and try to hide. And most often than not, in the beginning anyway, I find that I can't hide very well. I'm not a very good hider. You'll see my foot, you'll see my arm sticking out, you'll see my gut sticking out, you'll see my head sticking out. So a simple thing to remember is, the further you are, the smaller you are. Imagine if there's a telegraph pole, and there's a camera in behind it, and you want to hide behind the telegraph pole. Initially I'll just go right behind the telegraph pole, but I'm not as skinny as the telegraph pole, so either my foot will stick out, or my gut will stick out, or something will stick out, and I'll see myself in the footage, and I hate it because I can see it every time. But if you walk further back by a few more meters, 3 or 5 more meters, still behind the pole, all of a sudden you won't be in view, because relatively to the pole, to the camera, to yourself, you are a lot smaller than the pole, and you fit right in the pole. So use your viewfinder on your phone to have a look and see whether you can see yourself, and see how well hidden you are. But just something to remember is, the further you are, the smaller you are, and if you're hiding behind even the really tiny thin things, as long as you're further back from where that pole is, or where that tree is, or whether that whatever thing you're hiding behind that person is, then you often can get out of the way. You just got to walk back 5, 6, 7, 10 more meters, and you should be sweet. This is probably quite a general tip as well. 360 photos and videos are great to look at when you're on the iPad or on the computer. You can scroll around, you can rotate your phone around, and you can see everything around you. But trust me, if you really want to wow your audience, put them in a VR headset and let them view your photos through there. They'll be amazed. You'll be amazed if you haven't tried it yet. I'm hoping that you all have. If you've got a 360 camera, definitely try this. Put it in a VR headset. You're looking at things, and things are life size. Sure, the quality of photos are definitely not perfect. It can be a lot better. You know, the resolution can be a lot higher. But viewing 360 photos as it meant to be in VR, it's something that take the breath away, because there's a few footage that I took which I didn't think was great, but once I actually put the VR headset on, I just feel like I was there. So if you really want to wow someone with your 360 videos and 360 footage, definitely invest into, you don't even have to get the Gear VR, you can just get a cardboard, or even get some cheap Chinese version of it if you want. Something that you can view it on a one-to-one view on your phone, on whatever VR device you have. That'll make a big difference in how excited your audience will be in viewing your 360 photos. So here's another one that I probably don't have to say, but I'll say it anyway. Always keep the original file that is on the SD card in the camera. and not just the stitch file from the phone or from Action Director. And the reason for that is almost like your raw image. It's still a JPEG, or it's still a compressed video file, but that is as original as you can get. So the reason why you want to keep this is, for example, if you stitch the image with the logo on it, and all of a sudden you realize, I don't like that logo anymore, I want to change the logo, or I want to see what's original underneath there, and I want to try to Photoshop it out. With the stitch image, you're stuck with it. It's a watermark, it's there, it's stuck. With the pre-stitch file, you can always restitch it. You can always add in what you want, you can always Photoshop it what you want, and restitch it again and see how it looks like. Even without a watermark. The reason why you want to keep the original files over to just a stitch file without the logo, potentially going forward, the stitching process may be a lot better through the phone, through Action Director, or through the Samsung Gear 360 Manager. Maybe the stitch lines are much better. Maybe the newer firmware or newer version of the app or newer version of Action Director may help clean up the stitch videos and photos and make the stitching a lot better. And who knows, there might be other support from other third-party video editing and photo editing program which will allow you to stitch much better than what Samsung can give you as well. So personally, I would always keep the original file somewhere. I mean, it's obviously your choice whether to, because it takes up space, but I would highly recommend you to do so. And last but not least, this is again another general statement. Be creative and don't try to follow any rules that you've learned with videos and photos, photography with 360, because it's a brand new game, it's a brand new point of view. It's something that most of us haven't experienced before. I definitely haven't. The fact that it views everything around, top, down, left, right, the whole gamut of the 360 views, it really changed how you shoot things, how you make videos, how you edit videos, how you whether you want to mount it low down, high up, at eye level, how do you do a point of view type shoot without just getting the person in the way when you're shooting in the back of the camera. It's all very exciting and it's all very different. So I don't think there's any right or wrong. Some people might argue that there is. Just do anything and everything. Try it out. It's digital. You can always delete the files if you don't want, but as I just said before, I never delete anything. So try as much as you want and be creative. Don't stick to your standard rules. Don't think, you know, the composition rules and whatever, because that all goes out the window, because the composition that you see is not what the composition that the viewer see now, because they get the choice of where they look at. Be creative, have fun with it, throw at it what you can, and I want to see a lot of the videos and photos that all of you have taken. So please send it to me, comment it in the YouTube channel here, and I will definitely look at them. I love seeing what other tools are doing with their cameras, be it this camera, any other 360 cameras. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of those. So there it is. That's my top 10, well, my top 14 or 15 hints and tips of using the Gear 360 camera. Hope you enjoyed it, hope you learned a few things, and hope it wasn't too obvious with the things that I've listed out there. There's a few things that I thought were really obvious until I realised I didn't know it until I started playing with it. So hopefully you don't mind me stating the obvious for some of the things, and hopefully you've gained something from all of it. Please let me know if you've got any other hints and tips that you can provide me. I've definitely got other ideas that I want to throw out there, but I'll leave that for the next video. So as I said, have fun with your 360 video shooting. Show me what you've done, show me your photos, show me your videos. I'd love to have a chat to you and work out how I can learn from you. So until the next video, it's Warren here from Overexposed 360. Thank you for watching. See ya.